Okay, everybody, we're going to start the meeting. It is the Tiburon Town Council meeting of February 5th. And Lee, could you please call the roll?
Councilmember Fredericks.
Here.
Councilmember Nick Farr is absent. Councilmember Ryan.
Here.
Vice Mayor Wellner.
Here at last.
And Mayor Thier.
I'm here. I would now like to take any items, oral communications, any items not on the agenda that the public would like to speak about. I'm going to ask Lee to call on the hands, please. Call people up.
Yes, Madam Mayor, we have a couple people in the room.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Beth, and I'm a resident of Tiburon. I had a few questions, so I'll just power through them real quick. The first one is, I unfortunately couldn't make some of the last town halls, and I tried to follow along online and in the agenda, and I wasn't really sure when the final version of the master park and rec plan that was approved with contingencies that were then discussed, if that was actually done. I was referencing a specific document. Sorry, the dates are really going crazy in my head. I think it was December, maybe January, but I just wanted to make sure that if that was like done, or if there's like another meeting when that's coming up, and it's just gonna get like stamped and put in the archives there. My other question was, sorry, my phone went away. I was also curious on that specific topic too, if the town has done is aware of there being any current feasibility studies done in the past on the playgrounds. For example, Cypress Hollow and south of Knoll are already playgrounds. So maybe something was already done for those, but anything that's available in the public archives that might be able to be repurposed. And then another question was, I was at the recent post meeting and they had a suggestion around moving forward with, I believe they were calling it architectural designs for the mini park subcommittee. And I was just wondering when that will come up too, just trying to keep track of lots of moving pieces and make sure I'm participating at the right meetings. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. We can't respond to public comment, but I will ask staff to provide answers to your questions. So through the town manager, if you could help get some of the answers back to Beth, that would be great.
Not here, but I can.
Okay.
Yes.
Thanks, Greg. I'll email you.
I meant later.
Great. Okay. Thank you, Holly.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Greg.
Yep.
Do we have more public comments? And Lee, if you could also watch the time, there's no timer on my screen.
Yes, I'll watch the time, Madam Mayor. We do have one more person in the room.
Hi, Holly. Hi there, council members. Hi there. I'm Jane Gould. I'm your appointed person on the Commission on Aging, and I just come by. I drop in from time to time to tell you what we're doing. So the Council on Aging meets, there are a number of sub-meetings, but the Council on Aging formally meets every second Monday, so it's coming up at 1:30 p.m. It's on Los Gamos Road in the Marin Commons, and those meetings are on Zoom. So I wanted to say that you'll be seeing more information from the Council on Aging, perhaps later in the spring. The council, along with Vivillon, is producing a resource guide. We really need that. I think it went out of publication with Whistle Stop a while ago, so hopefully it will be a living document. It goes online and it'll be useful to the community. So look for that. The Council on Aging itself is sponsoring in May a workshop. I think it's called The Social Determinants of Health. And offline, we call it, It's Really Difficult to Age in Marin, or something like that. I don't need to draw your attention to the fact that there are more people over 65 in Tiburon than there are people under age 18. And we don't have a senior center, but I like to encourage people, and I do, to use our resources, which are the public library, which is amazing in terms of programs, and the ranch, and also to join the Villages network. I personally have a great interest in transportation. I'll be giving a workshop at the library next week. It is how to get around using your smartphone, and particularly I'll tie it into a program with Marin Transit on Catch a Ride, being able to use the ride hail services. And with my counterpart on the commission from Belvedere, Larry Binkley, I think we'll be continuing to look at options, since people come to us and say, my biggest problem, I'm in the hills, I can't drive, I'm aging in place. So Larry and I will be continuing to explore what are transportation options, alternatives, what can we do for the community here. So that's my update. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. And thanks for giving us regular updates. It's really fabulous to hear what you're doing. Now I'm going to move on to the consent calendar. Is there any public?
Madam Mayor, we have a couple more public comments.
Oh, I apologize. I thought we had two. Please proceed, Lee.
Hi, my name is Chelsea. I'm in the Bel Air neighborhood. And I just wanted to briefly say that it's been so exciting following along with the master plan for Parks and Rec. I think that's been a great asset for our community, and I'm really encouraged with the progress that's been made. I'm thankful for the small updates that we've had in Bel Air, because for me personally, that's right in my neighborhood, and I have 3 young sons, and it's made a huge improvement in our quality of life and ability to access the field, that the divots have been improved, and there's the garbage cans, so the dog poop problem is also much improved. So thank you for that. And I think there are opportunities to continue to address some of that low-hanging fruit, like the playground at Cypress Hollow, I think in particular, is one that it's an existing playground, and the community generally agrees that it's really in need of updates. That would be great to see. And then we have a number of things that we're kind of prioritizing, but another one that I personally think would be relatively low-hanging fruit and really an improvement for the quality of life for kids and teens would be adding small amenities in Blackie's Pasture and Lineal Park, like a hammock, can draw teenagers to gather in nature, which would be wonderful. Other small things around that Blackie's Pasture area, shaded seating areas, and then around the sanitation ponds, adding a basketball court, a kind of shaded maybe gathering area, and maybe the basketball and sand volleyball have really strong support from the community, even outside of our group. So I think small things like that could be a huge improvement. And then, of course, there are longer term projects like a accessible and inclusive playground and a community pool that we would also love to see, but we understand that's a much longer process and much more expensive. So thank you so much for your time, and thanks for your ongoing support for kids and families.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Lee, do we have more public comment either in the room or online?
We do have one hand raised online, Julie Jacobs. Please go ahead.
Hi, to the council members, and I would like to introduce myself. I'm Julie Jacobs. I'm a resident of Tiburon, and there are 2 references to the transportation and infrastructure study on tonight's agenda. My comment is not on those 2 agenda items, which add to compensation for the contract to add to community meetings and the composition of the advisory committee. I'd like to address something different. I believe that with both the newly received application to add significant high-density housing downtown, combined with the wildfires in Southern California since the last town council meeting, it is critical that the traffic study should include timely and expert research on safe and adequate emergency evacuation routes from downtown to Trestle Glen, and also routes to and from downtown for emergency vehicle access and speedy dispatch to area hospitals. Nothing could have made our safety concerns regarding adding high-density housing downtown more clear and the timing more urgent than the tragic wildfires in the LA area. We need expert advice quickly on how to avoid the fate of the Pacific Palisades, an area which is so similar to Tiburon with regard to topography and traffic challenges. In addition, given the recent application, which would add at least 120 units downtown and possibly 200 vehicles to the burden already on Tiburon Boulevard in an emergency evacuation, the horrors of the death and destruction from the LA area fires demand that we take action now to go back to HCD, the California Senate and Assembly, and our governor, who has recently moved to a wooded area in Marin, to ask them to adjust the RENA allocation for this cycle substantially downward. No politician wants avoidable deaths on his or her watch. Thank you for your kind consideration.
Thank you so much, Julie. Thank you. Do we have any more public comment either in the room or online?
I am seeing no additional comments.
Okay, moving on to the consent calendar. Is there any public comment on the consent calendar? Would any member of the council like to pull an item from consent? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the consent calendar?
So moved.
Is there a second? Yeah. Okay, great. Lee, could you call the roll?
Councilmember Fredericks,
Yes.
Councilmember Nick Farr is absent, Councilmember Ryan.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Wellner,
Yes.
and Mayor Thier.
Yes. Moving right along to action item A11, Main Street closure request. I believe there's a brief staff report, and then we will take public comment after that.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yes, the item before council this evening is considering approving a closure of Lower Main Street from 4 to 9 p.m. on March 14th, 2025. This is related to the Little League Parade and opening day. We do have a representative of the Little League here who I believe is prepared to speak, but I would just remind council just a little bit of history. Back in 2023, the council voted unanimously to limit the number of Lower Main Street closures to 6 events per calendar year, reserving 3 of those events for chamber-sponsored events. At this point, the council has not approved any additional closures over and above those 3. So if they were to approve this closure this evening, that would leave 2 more available for council based on what council's direction was in 2023. There's an exhibit in your staff report which details the plans for the Little League that day. And again, I believe we have a representative of the Little League. If you'd come up, and that concludes my staff report.
Okay, so is there someone that wishes to speak? Okay, so you have 5 minutes.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. I think in the interest of time, I will keep my remarks brief. I think in short, we are effectively trying to redo what we did last year, which I think most of you, or maybe all of you, were involved with that process. A little bit of background on the Little League for those who might not be aware. We are a not-for-profit entity. So we rely on sort of the registration fees, sponsorships, as well as any other fundraising to try our best to break even. We are not always successful every year, so these types of events are very impactful for us and our ability to continue to offer what we think is a quality league, even offer some scholarships to some people to participate in the league who might not otherwise be able to. We have usually over 300 kids. I think we're around 311 currently. We'll have some more of the younger ones sign up. They always sign up a little bit later. And so we're really optimistic and excited for the season to get started. This event is a great way for us to kick off our season. Obviously, it's a ton of fun for the kids who play. It's also a ton of fun for their friends who do not play but want to come and hang out and participate in the event. It's a lot of fun for the parents, families. It's a great way for them to interact. And although it is a youth league, this event is undoubtedly a community type event for all ages, and the public are welcome to attend in line with my earlier points. I think I just wanted to give those comments. I'm here to answer any questions, address any concerns that anyone has. But I did want to keep it brief in the interest of time.
Okay, thank you so much. Are there any questions for
I
staff?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
So traditionally, this is also linked with a fundraising event of selling alcohol. Is it this year also?
The plan is similar to last year to sell beer
And-
and wine to the adults.
And so, yeah. There was some concern, as you know, about the literature about modeling and some concern about sort of separating the liquor sales from the kids' activities. Is this something that is set up for this year too?
Right, yeah, I think we're
Thank
going
you.
to abide the same way last time with a restricted type area that would not overlap the children's activities.
Thank you very much.
Okay, great. Do we have any more questions from council? Okay, then I'm gonna open it up for public comment. And then we will have council discussion. Is there any public comment?
Seeing none.
Okay, great. I'm gonna put this back into the hands of the town council. Would anyone like to lead off? Or
I'll just chime in and say, we love supporting this every year. It's a great event.
Thank
Looking
you.
forward to having it happen once again.
Yeah, same. I think it's a great tradition for the kids, and I think it's been successful in the past. We've never had any complaints, so I appreciate my ability to support it.
And I'm looking forward to one of my colleagues making a motion of support.
I'm going to say a couple things first. I also am very supportive of the event. I think that you have cordoned off the alcohol in an appropriate way, so it's not near the children and you're not walking around with drinks. I also wanted to make a comment on the 6 closures a year of Main Street. That is something I plan to bring back to the town council. I would very much like to see us reinstate Friday nights on Main. And I think like Friday nights on Main, this is a big community event, Little League. And a lot of our residents participate, and it's the kind of thing we should be supporting. So I am gonna also be voting in favor of this. Do I hear a motion?
I make a motion that we approve the request to close Main Street for the Little League Parade.
Second,
Okay, Lee, if you could call the roll.
Councilmember Fredericks. Councilmember Fredericks.
yes.
Councilmember Nick Farr is absent. Councilmember Ryan.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Wellner
Yes.
and Mayor Thayer.
Yes. Okay, so we are now moving on to action item 2, which is Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. Is there a brief staff report?
Yes, very brief, Madam Mayor. Again, thank you. This item is for council to consider approving an $8,000 expenditure from the fiscal year 2025 operating budget to cover the costs of the 2025 Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Festival on January 8th, 2025. The Diversity Inclusion Task Force voted unanimously to recommend to council that they approve an $8,000 expenditure to cover the expenses related to the festival this year. It would occur on May 17th, 2025, and an exhibit to your staff report has a multi-page detailed explanation of what the how the event would be done with the number of performers. A reminder, this is not anything to do with a road closure. This event would take place at Zielinski Park here behind Town Hall. So tonight, council's is just considering the approval of the funding. With that, I conclude my staff.
Thank you. Thank you. Do we have any public comment on this? And do we have any council discussion? Do we have a motion?
I just wanted to make a one comment. This is a wonderful event, and I think in response to some requests, they have tried to include our Japanese culture in this. I think this is very important, and I would really urge the council to help find a way to include this, especially given our role during World War II as a stopgap on the way to Angel Island and on the way to incarceration camps. If this is not something you feel passionate about, I really encourage you to read a book by Brandon Shimoda called, and I actually forget the title, but I think it's The Afterlife is Letting Go. And it talks about the effects of the incarceration and the interaction of the white community with Japanese during World War II and after, and how it has affected successive generations of Japanese people. I think we need that education. We don't get it in school. We don't hear about it at all. The last person I talked to thought incarceration only happened in California, and only happened in Northern California. In the book, there is a citation to the effect that in some of the camps that still have standing buildings, some of the illegal immigrants are now held. There is a wonderful culture to celebrate in the Japanese community. And I think that appreciation of our history and of their culture is very important. I hope we can help the DITF committee sort of hone in on this and define what would be an appropriate inclusion next year.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, do we have a motion?
I'll move it.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, could we have a roll call vote, Lee?
Councilmember Fredericks.
Yes.
Councilmember Nick Farr is absent. Councilmember Ryan.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Wellner.
Yes.
And Mayor Thur.
Yes. Moving on to items A13 and D11. These items, Isaac, Councilmember Nick Farr has requested that we postpone to a future meeting. As everyone knows, he is ill this evening, and he really wanted to participate in these items. So if there is no objection, we will postpone those two items to the next meeting. Okay, do we have?
Mayor, if I may, we have,
Someone here to comment.
it's on the agenda and we have a couple of people who want to public
Perfect.
comment on.
Okay, okay, great. Sorry, I can't see you in the room or online, so please go ahead.
Hi, my name is Beth. I'm a Tiburon resident, and I just recently filled out the survey. So I just wanted to flag this. If you could let the consultants know. I was really disappointed in that there was not an option for how many times you go up and down Tiburon Boulevard more than once a day. It was like once a day, once a week, once a month. And if you live downtown, you go up and down Tiburon Boulevard multiple times a day. I got to go to I can't shop at Woodlands every day. I mean, that's like $80 every time I'm in there. So I go that way, go to school. Oh, I got to work out. There's no rec center. Got to go down Tiburon Boulevard again. And then, oh, there's a doctor checkup. Well, there's no doctor's offices down here. So then I got to go. And then my husband's got a job where he has to commute sometimes. And then, maybe we have a play date. So I'm just letting you know, I feel like that was a big miss. And I know when you did the park and rec plan, they forgot to include playgrounds. And so I just wanted to flag that early, that seems to me, as someone who used to do market research as part of my career, as something missing in that survey. There should at least be like greater than some amount of time per day. I was like once per day. That just felt really limiting, and I don't think you're going to get all the information. I also don't feel like this has been advertised to people who aren't residents. So I know we talk a lot about like schools, but there's also people that come in and out for work, and I think you're just gonna have to work really hard to get that survey to those people.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Do we have more public comments?
Yes. we have-
And again, these items will be on the next agenda, and you will be able to comment at that time as well.
I wasn't planning to speak about this evening, but Beth inspired me when she talked about the survey because I do transportation surveys. When I did the survey, I was disturbed that there was I could go in if I had a particular point of view that I wanted to make on this survey. I could go in and do this survey multiple times. Now, I realize that it's difficult to control for that. You have to do a very careful study, but I don't know how you rule out people sort of throwing the results if they have a particular opinion on the survey. The other thing I want to mention, which I thought about when I came here tonight, I've contacted, since I am a transportation planner, I contacted parametrics 2 times when the survey began and said, just let me stay, I'd like to stay informed, I'd like to stay on top of these issues. And here, by the way, are some background on this. The only way that I find out about the meetings and about the public events is through the ARC, and it's usually a day too late.
Thank you. That's very valuable feedback. Do we have more public comment, either in the room or online?
Seeing none.
Okay, great. Then I'm moving on to any town manager or town council reports.
I have no report, Madam Mayor.
I just had a very quick item. The mayor of Belvedere and I are doing a forum on fire prevention on February 25th at the library at 5:30. So everyone is invited. 5:30, there'll be a reception. 6 o'clock will be the presentation. And it should be really good to talk about how residents can prepare for fire and emergency preparedness. So we'll be sending out more about that. So if there's nothing else, then we will adjourn the meeting.
I would just like to make one comment. And by the way, I think this presentation that's being planned by the mayors is really helpful. Thank you. My other comment is simply this. In order to track the meetings when they're happening, the best place is the town's website.
Okay, that's great. That's great. Okay, so with no further business, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everybody.